and I reach in, and as soon as I reach in, time stood still.
Oh, dawned on you.
I have never in my life put my gun in my briefcase. I have never in my life had a weapon unaccounted for. They are charging me 5 different crimes. I'm now Sunday evening, uncontrollable, literally pacing the cell, asking why, crying, asking God why.
All right, everybody. Good Hustle, episode 27. Welcome to the show. My name is John Henry. We have another guest host today.
Yes, my name is Ben Giles, and it is great to be on this side of the table for the first time.
He's
and
been-
I'm
yeah.
good. I was just going to say,
You've been on that side of the table?
I've been on this side.
You've been over there.
I've been back there.
Yep, which is really good there. He's been on
everywhere, man.
Yep, everywhere. And Zach is on vacation. Hope you're having fun. He had some plane issues last night. Apparently the brakes didn't work on the plane, so they're leaving here shortly. So I think you need them when you're coming in. I don't think
Coming in
they're
hot.
Coming in hot. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But another thing, I do sell real estate. I'm with Keller Williams of Central PA. That's how we fund the show. So if you're looking to buy or sell, just check out Zach or I. Our information is going to be below, but we're here to help. Today's a really important episode for me. This is one that I wanted to do in the beginning, and timing is everything. And we are here today with an actual dear friend of mine, Brent Lettich. Brent and I worked together at RE/MAX up the street for many years, but when we started working together, we found out a couple things. A, he lives in my aunt's old house, which is right in front of where I grew up. B, we just have similar pasts, similar things that we like to do, hunt, all that kind of stuff. You know, we've done tons of hunting trips together. We've done tons of turkey hunts together. We've traveled, we've vacationed together. We've gone to museums together. We've gone to military bases together. We've done a lot of things. We became really good friends, and we worked together for many years, over 6 years at RE/MAX. And we built such a great relationship. It's been really fun. Brent's, you were a Marine.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, fantastic. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yep.
Served 6
Sorry,
years.
I meant to say you are a Marine.
It's all good. 6 years, way back from 86 to 92. But, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah,
so,
amen.
It's instilled a lot of life lessons in me, and I still carry them today.
Yep. And one of the big things I can tell you about Brent is that he's a wonderful father, and he's raised 2 amazing daughters, Brenna and Morgan. Morgan's in the Air Force. Brenna actually works now in the business with you in real estate, which is really cool.
She does.
But that's one of the things that I always admired about you is how great of a father you were. Even a father figure to other people's kids. And I've seen that firsthand, which is really, really amazing. And one of the things, I never had kids, so I try to at least be some type of role model, no matter what, because I think it's absolutely important. And Ben's really good at that too.
Yeah.
You're a huge role model.
Thank you.
For kids.
I appreciate that.
He is. And he's a great dad too. So I'll kind of just let this story go as it goes. But so I get a phone call from Tim, who is our broker, my broker at the time. You're still your current broker and dear friend of everybody. Great guy. And he calls me and he kind of sounds distressed. And he says, "Do you have a passport?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Can you go to Mexico?" I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Brent's in prison." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And of course I said yes. I mean, I didn't want to. I can honestly tell you, deathly afraid about anything that was going to happen. I didn't want to go, but I felt like it was a mandatory thing whenever he said, "Do you have a passport? Can you go to Mexico? Brent's in prison." I'm not going to turn that down. Luckily for me, I did not have to go, but you went on a trip and, it's just tough. Tough for me to tell, and I'm just sitting here watching. Brenna was just graduated high school.
She did.
Morgan was 10 days away from going into the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Let's go to Mexico. We're going to take a trip with Aaron was there, Matt was there, Matt's daughter was there, and you and your 2 daughters."
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of days before you left, you were at another location. Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, so going back to my Marine Corps days, always still, it's near and dear to my heart. So I also volunteer for an organization called LEAK, Also Save All, which is saving or serving all veterans, all wars. So I've been part of them for the last 15 years. Once a year, we do a big fundraiser. We're based out of Potter County. We do a big fundraiser. It's an open house.
And I was there once.
Yes. Well, we open our facility to the community. We have some veterans come. The community can see what we're doing, how we do it, et cetera. So that particular weekend was Leak's open house. Now, let me back up just a little bit. And I guess I would like to start out by saying everything happens for a reason. If there's one thing that is absolutely clearer than anything else in this world, is everything happens for a reason.
God
and
has
I
a plan.
say that with faith-based, because this entire story, this entire part of my life is because of that, because everything. And when I say everything, I mean his plan. Everything that we go through as people, it's all laid out in front of us.
Yeah.
So this particular weekend, decided, and I'll try to get, and I apologize if I go all over the place, bouncing back and forth.
No, that's okay.
My daughters and I, we decided we were going to do a family vacation. We decided we were going to go to Washington State. We had it planned. I have a Marine Corps friend out in Washington State. We were going to go visit the West Coast. At that time, we were going to go to California, Oregon, Washington State. At the very probably 3-4 weeks before, Erin and I, which is a very dear friend, she's like my sister. She is also like my daughter's second mom. Known Erin for 10, 15, 12 years now.
Yep.
So very dear friend. We were having this conversation with Erin saying, hey, I want to do something with my daughters. We're going on vacation. She's like, hey, my best friend owns a travel agency. Her name is Lindsay. You should just reach out to Lindsay and see what they have available. So we did. Long story short, ended up switching gears in the middle of midstream to go to Mexico because there was this incredible promotion, this deal of a lifetime, all inclusive, to go to Cancun, Mexico. And this is the deal. Wow. Talk to the girls, both Morgan and Brenna. Absolutely. Let's go to Mexico.
Yeah,
we
why
can
not?
lay on the beach. We
Yep.
can, wait, the drinking age back then is 18 for down there. I mean,
they're legal.
They're 18.
Yeah. Everybody's
which is
happy.
perfect. Oh my God.
This is going to be the best week ever.
ever. So we switched midstream. So talking to Erin, said, oh my gosh, Lindsay gave us such an incredible deal. She's like, well, Matt has a daughter, Chloe. Chloe and Brenna graduated together. And we'd have thought, maybe we should do something for Chloe as well. Hey, why don't you talk to Lindsay and see if you can get that same deal? Long story short, they got the exact same thing. Now all of us are going. Wow, win-win situation, because now my daughters have somebody else to do something with beside Dad. And I have other adults to do something with. Man, this is
Right.
Wow, this is awesome.
This
Perfect.
is too good to be true.
3 and 3, perfect. 6 people, great trip.
Good trip.
Let's go.
So now that particular weekend, we have this open house for Leak. Now, again, military-oriented. Brent Lettich got out of the Marine Corps in 1992. Since then, there were 3 things I carried on my person every single day of my life, from the time I woke up until the time I fell asleep. 3 things. I carried a flashlight. I carried a knife. And I carried a concealed weapon. I am absolutely legal. I have been all of my life. Those are 3 things I never left home without. If I go to church, if I go shopping, whatever I do, those 3 things are on my body, period. It was part of my body. Mm-hmm. It was just like my index fingers. I had them. This particular weekend, sitting in our office, it was Thursday evening, planning to go up to the open house. My daughter and I and my good friend Dave, nicknamed Gilly.
Gilly. Gilly.
Yep. So Gilly is going to be going up with us. Gilly's in my office. It's Friday or Thursday night, about 5 p.m. He's in my office waiting for Morgan to get there. She gets there and says, Dad, let's go. We got to hit the road. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Now, when I was at work, I did not have my weapon on me. I put it in my drawer. I have a holster in my drawer where if something happened while I was in the office, it was easy access.
So it's with you. It's just not
with
on your
me,
person.
just not on my person. If I'm sitting at my desk, that's where I always kept it. So I open up my drawer, but in that drawer, I also kept my wallet and my keys. So I open up the drawer to get my wallet and keys out so we can hit the road. Oh my gosh, here's my pistol. You know what? I'm going to Potter County. These are 90% military guys. These guys carry. I don't need to take it to Potter County with me. Brooks is on right across from me, right in front of me. And I'm like, I don't want to leave it here. I'm not going to be here for the next 10 days because I'm going on vacation. We laughed, and he's like, probably wouldn't be good if somebody would sit you at your desk, open up the drawer. Oh, my gosh, there's a pistol. I'm like, yep. All right. So I threw it in my briefcase. Away we went up to Potter County. Had an incredible weekend up there, just Friday night. We had to get up early Saturday morning to come home. We were going to meet Matt and Aaron at their house. We had to get to Baltimore that evening because our plane left at like 06 on Sunday morning.
So you're staying the night in a hotel.
Staying the night at a hotel.
That's what I love to do.
Yep,
leave the car at the hotel,
Perfect.
take a shuttle in, yada, yada, yada.
Yep, and it's exactly what we were doing. So we leave Potter County early Saturday morning, get home. It's a 4-hour trip. Now we got to do all of our laundry. We got to repack, and we got to meet Matt and Aaron. So we're rushing around. We're doing everything. John mentioned we're real estate agents. What do? We work all the time.
24/7.
No matter where we are, we work 24/7. And that's what I do as well. So I'm like, oh, my gosh, I got to take my briefcase. I can't wait to get down to Mexico. I'm going to sit on the white beach, and I'm going to have my laptop, and I'm going to work away at 5 o'clock in the morning because nobody else is awake. Good times. Oh, my briefcase is in Morgan's car. I run out to Morgan's car, grab my briefcase, bring it in, threw it in my suitcase, closed up the suitcase, and away we go to Matt and Aaron's. Get to Matt and Aaron's house. We all pile in. We all get down to Baltimore. Fantastic evening. Sunday. It's Father's Day. Oh, that's right. Father's Day. What a great way to spend Father's Day because with my daughters, this is absolutely going to be the best trip ever.
This is the part of the movie where they zoom into the briefcase like dun, dun, dun.
Hold on, I got to take a drink over that.
I think it's just coffee.
Black coffee. Colombian, not Mexican.
That's oh my god.
Now throw out Mexican coffee.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right, sorry. Proceed.
All right, so Sunday morning we get up. We get up bright and early because our plane leaves at 6. So we have to get to the airport bright and early because you got to check in. We're waiting to check in. And we're waiting to check in. There's nobody at the counter.
Oh, yeah, they don't open until a certain time sometimes,
Sure don't. So here we're all waiting. And, of course, there's a bunch of people there doing the same thing we are, but we get there super early. We're pretty much first in line. Here comes the best worker that anybody could ever want as an employee. She is so happy to be there, loves her job. Yeah. It's Sunday morning. And I'm being very facetious when I say she's happy to be there. She is as crabby as crab can be. So you put your luggage up top. We have 3 suitcases. We put them all up there. She looks at our plane tickets and the little tags that go on the suitcase. Yep, she just puts them on there and away we go. Perfect. And I mention that because that actually becomes part of the story down the road. Okay. So get down to Cancun. We're sitting on the tarmac, if you will, waiting to come off. When we're sitting there, all of our luggage gets offloaded onto the tarmac. And when it does, there is the Mexican police there, and they have dogs, sniffing dogs, going around all of our luggage. And now, coincidentally, Morgan, 10 days later after we get back, is going to go to the Air Force, active duty Air Force. She's enlisted because she wants to work with dogs. So we mentioned this whole thing. Oh my gosh, look at the dogs. They're working dogs. That's pretty cool. Isn't that neat? So on and so forth. So we mentioned it. We see our briefcase, our suitcases there. That's fantastic. So go through customs, go through immigrations. Not a problem. We all get stamped. They have anything to declare. It's all good. Now, mind you, we've gone through 3 other things at BWI as well. Get to Cancun, go through all of that. Lindsay, the travel agent, set us up with transportation. All we do is we go from our house. She set that hotel up in Baltimore, our flights. As soon as we get off the flight in Cancun, guess what we have waiting for us?
Limo.
Stretch limo. Brent Lettich at that time was just over 50 years old. I have never driven in a limo. To this day, I've driven in one on our way to the airport to get out of Cancun. However, man, I can't wait for this limo. This is going to be amazing.
Now, you could see the limo, too.
Oh, I could.
This is still sounding like the best trip ever.
Best trip. Can't wait.
Yeah.
So, last checkpoint that you have to go through. If you've ever been to Cancun or out of the country, you put your suitcase up, it goes through a conveyor belt, and you hit this little button, and if it turns green, you keep on going. If it turns red, okay, you have to open up your briefcase or your suitcase, and they inspect it. No problem. When I travel, and John can testify to this, I will always be the last person. Yeah. Always. If we go to the restaurant, everybody gets up out of the table and you walk out, Brent Lettich will always be the last. If we're walking in a mall, I will always be behind everybody, no matter what.
And that's just a protective instinct that you
have? It is. I mean, in the military, we call it protecting your six. You know, always that's just what I do.
Yeah.
So there's 6 of us. 5 of them go through this last checkpoint. They're standing there probably 10 yards from the limo. We can see the limo through the door. I go through. I put my suitcase up on the little conveyor belt. I go through. The conveyor belt goes. I go through the metal detector. They asked me in broken English, you have anything on your person? I do not. So the only thing I do have is I do have a new knee. That may set the metal detector off. So I've been told. Go through the metal detector. Beep. Okay, so they hands up. They do the little wand thing. It's my knee. Okay, no problem. So I go. Here comes my suitcase right in front of me. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I reach down to grab my suitcase, and it stops. And it goes back through the conveyor. Okay, whatever. They saw something. Comes right before me. The guy who's running the little screen or whatever you call them, is this your suitcase? It is. Okay, could you open it up? Sure, no problem. I open it up, and on the very top, last thing I threw in there was my briefcase.
Did you know at this point?
0. No idea.
The last thing you threw in there was
my briefcase.
In your suitcase?
In my suitcase.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
in
laying
my
on
suitcase.
top.
Got it.
Because at the very end, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to grab my laptop.
Yeah.
So I threw my laptop in. Away we go. I open it up. He's like, in broken English, mind you, because he's Mexican. Broken English. What's in there? Well, that's easy. That's my laptop. Do you mind opening it up? Not at all. Open it up. Do you mind pulling it out? I pull it out. There's my laptop. Set it on the table. Okay. Now my briefcase is divided into 2. One side's for your laptop. The other side is for paperwork. I keep my charging cord, the mouse, everything else on the other side. What's on this side? Well, that's easy. It's my charging cord. Do you mind pulling that out? Sure. And I reach in, and as soon as I reach in, time stood still.
Oh,
dawned on you.
Oh, my goodness.
Just felt that heavy metal.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. You know what? This is a complete accident. Unbelievable. Yep. Guys, yeah, complete accident. I mean, literally. I have never in my life put my gun in my briefcase. I have never in my life had a weapon unaccounted for. In this particular time, circumstances, it was. I forgot about it in my briefcase. Okay, no problem. They'll understand. I'm with my 2 daughters. I'm with my best friend, her fiance, his daughter. This is all a big mistake. No problem. You guys can just, in my mind, you guys can just keep this. We'll work through it. Keep the gun. I don't care. I'll just let me go do my vacation and I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yes, time stood still. All I can say is Morgan and Brenna, Matt, Chloe, and Aaron are standing there. What's going on? Okay, so I talked to them as much as I could because they're like 10, 15 feet away. And by this time, all kinds of Mexican police are coming from all over the place and kind of surrounding me.
Yeah.
As they should, right? They're trying to secure the object or whatever you want to call it. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes goes by.
What's happening during those 30 minutes? Like, are they talking to you, asking you questions, or is it just
asking me question after question after question?
Wow.
And again, now these are Mexican. That's what they speak.
So you're doing your best to
English,
understand
it. Yes. So they did tell me that there was going to be somebody coming from them. Now I'll use the Mexican FBI.
Oh.
The next tier, not just the airport security. The next tier would be coming.
Can you tell the audience what firearm this was? This was a 9mm?
It was.
Okay.
Yep. It was a 6-hour 9mm. That's what I carried.
And in Mexico, it's considered not just a 9mm, it's considered a military weapon?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, John.
Okay.
Good memory. Because that is very important.
I was going to say that probably plays a big role.
Oh, it plays a huge role.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, everybody, he just celebrated 5 years since this happened about 2 weeks ago. Or about a month ago.
Yeah, a month ago.
Yeah, so
Father's Day.
Father's Day. Oh, yeah, a month ago.
June 18th
Yep.
is the day that it all started.
Yep.
The day time stood still. That's the name of the book.
So, gentleman comes, and again, I'm not sure if that's the right term, but I'll just use the Mexican FBI. He comes, and he speaks much more fluent English. So now we can have a conversation. He asks me all about the gun. He asks me, what my intentions are in Mexico. And I tell him what's going on, so on and so forth. Those are my 2 daughters. Point everything. They actually can come over a little bit. They can hear from what I remember. So he pretty much says, listen, we're going to have to detain you and get all this figured out. And I said, can I make a phone call just to figure out what's going on? He's like, yes. So Morgan had my cell phone. I had her come over, and she made a phone call to Tim, who is my very, 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 very dear friend, best friend.
By the way, Tim will do anything for anybody that's a friend.
Yes.
Like, hands down, done a million things for me as a human as well.
Yeah, incredible human being. Truly is. So he made a phone call. She made a phone call to Tim. Now, remind you, this is Sunday, Father's Day. We got there at noon. I mean, it was probably just a few minutes past noon. This was a little after 1 p.m. now. She called him. She got him on the phone and said, hey, listen, this is what's going on. He immediately got JB on the phone. JB is an attorney.
And former military as well?
No.
He was not.
No.
He's an attorney. He's multiple things.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But JB is first person you think of because he works with us. He works with the company. He works side by side with real estate. Okay, at least he knows law.
Yeah.
What do we have to do? So he gets JB on the phone, and JB said, before you do anything.
Oh, JB. Oh, yes. I was thinking JR when I said military.
Yeah, well,
okay, yeah. JB's not military.
Well, he's many things.
Love JB, but not military.
Not
Go
military.
ahead. A magician.
Yeah, he is. That's why I say he's many things.
That's right.
He sounds like Better Call Saul.
Yeah, 100%. He's Better Call Saul. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'm sorry.
So JB, so whatever you do, the first thing you need to do is you need to call the U.S. consulate, because anytime an American is taken into custody, the U.S. consulate gets involved. So, best advice, or only advice that he could give. So we did. Okay, so now we know that the very first thing we have to do is call the consulate to let them know. I'm going to just go off a little tangent. Erin. Erin, again, is like my best friend. She is my little sister. Love her to death. She's probably, I don't know how big Erin is, maybe 5'2", 5'4".
5'3", yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if there's anybody in this world that you give a task or you want something done, she is like a 5'4" pit bull. She is tenacious. She's a
very strong woman.
Yes. If there's anything that needs done,
she's getting it done.
Yeah. Okay. So in my mind, wow, she knows she has to call the consulate. I don't have anything to worry about because it's going to happen. So now the Mexican FBI says, okay, we're going to have to detain you. I had made my phone call. It's now time to say, all right, girls, you can go on your merry way. I'll be in touch. They are telling me that they can come visit me. They're telling me that it's only going to be a short time. I'll have my phone. I can make phone calls. They're telling me all of this.
Do they cuff you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But they're telling me this. So I'm telling the girls, of course, trying to be as strong as could be, hey, look, everything's going to be okay. This is all going to work out.
Misunderstanding.
It is a mistake. True blue mistake. We all make mistakes.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. So I have to say goodbye to them, and they have to leave. Obviously, very, very, very emotional. As a father, now I'm leaving my two daughters. Again, great news, in the hands of Aaron and Matt. Couldn't ask for any better.
Could you imagine if they weren't there?
Oh my gosh, no.
Can you imagine if they didn't come on this trip?
And that's part of this whole thing. It all happens for a reason.
100%.
Because if we would have been doing this by ourselves, now I'm leaving them in a third world country.
Yeah, an 18 and a 20-year-old, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Right.
Oh.
So we had to part ways. We had to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So very, very, very emotional. Everybody was. They go their way. As soon as they do, the questions got a lot stronger. And he looks at the briefcase, or he looks at everything. Everything's laid out on the table. And he looks at the suitcase, and he sees the tag on the suitcase. Remember our friend, the number one employee back in BAWI? Well, she put Morgan's name on it. Because all of our suitcases were in line, she just wrapped one on after another. So next thing you know, you Morgan? No, I'm not Morgan. I'm Brent Lettich. Who's Morgan? Morgan's my daughter right there that was actually walking away. He's like, oh, no. We need Morgan. So I'm like, this is my suitcase. It's look at my shirt, my underwear. This is a male. Morgan's female. So he's like, nope, we need Morgan. So in that instant, he runs after and grabs Morgan and says, I need you back here.
By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this episode of the Good Hustle Podcast, please go ahead, leave a like, subscribe on the YouTube. And also, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. So if you want to listen without the video part, you can do that.
Yep. And if you're looking for any real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, please contact Zach or myself. Our numbers are below. Back to the podcast.
Again, everything happens for a reason, right?
Wow.
So Morgan comes over and he starts questioning her. And I believe she had to bring her briefcase or her suitcase over to prove that my name was on her suitcase. So the whole reasoning for this in my mind is I still had every dollar. The girls didn't bring anything. I had all of the money, all the credit cards. She had my phone. So I was able to, when all this was going on, I reached in my pocket and oh my gosh, I got to get this money to her. So I was able to pass the money and everything over to her. A few seconds go by, a few minutes go by, and he clears her and she's able to leave.
Jesus.
Yes.
Wow.
But
Because I could have seen that going very different.
I didn't,
Very
and
different.
I'll tell you what, I never knew that part of the story. Never
right?
knew that. Nope.
Yep.
Had no idea about that happening.
And also, let's back up for a second, because at this time, if the others didn't come with you, you would have had one daughter in Mexico, potentially alone.
one. Yeah, could
Like,
be just
right.
Brenna.
Could.
Because they could have detained Morgan as well.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yep. So they leave. They go on their merry way. Again, there's so many different parts to this story. So they get to the resort. To be honest, from that point forward, the next time I see them, that was Sunday afternoon. At this point, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know. But from that point forward, I don't get to talk to them. Not any communication until Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Thursday.
So where were you for those 4 days?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. So that's the next part of the story.
Chapter 3. Let's
Chapter-
go.
yeah.
This is where there will be tears. So go ahead.
So they're gone. Now, that's when I get handcuffed, I get shackled, and I get escorted out of the airport. They have told me, and they continue to tell me, that I'm going to a detention center. That's what they have continued to say. So, okay, I'm going to the detention center. Again, in my mind, it's all going to be worked out. I just got to go prove to them. I mean, I've had my concealed carry weapon in Pennsylvania since 1992. I'm an upstanding citizen. It's all going to be worked out. No problem. In my mind. Get to the detention center. Well, the detention center is just that, detention for criminals, otherwise known as
Prison.
or jail.
Yep.
There you go. So we get there. Now, the further we get away from the airport, the less people speak English. So we get to the detention center. It's actually a decent facility. Had air conditioning, had lights. So it was a decent facility. But I get taken into the center, and I get taken into a cell, legitimate jail cell. The cell is 6 foot by 12 foot, and I can guarantee that's what it was, and I can get into that. I'll get into that part a little bit later.
It's 4 of these tables.
4 of these tables, yeah. 100% all concrete. Everything in this cell is concrete.
Is there a toilet in there?
The bed is concrete. The toilet is a concrete toilet. Oh! There was a sink that was broken, and it was concrete. There are no linens, no bed, no cushion, no nothing.
They just gave you a concrete box.
Concrete box.
No,
That's it.
so you slept on concrete.
So, yes. To answer that question, yes.
Wow.
In the back part of this cell, there was a water trough, if you will, an indent in the floor that had water running through it. Now, you tried to turn the water on the sink. There was no knobs. They were all broken off. But they had the spigot coming out. And every couple, maybe once an hour, some water came through the spigot. And some of that water ran through the toilet. That's cement toilet.
Jiminy.
That's it. So there's no running water. No windows, no nothing. at the very top in the back of the cell, there was an opening in the roof. We're talking Mexico, so we're not talking our standards of jail. So there was a hole in the ceiling, if you will, so I could see daylight. That is the only way I knew if it was nighttime, daytime, anything like that. The extent I was there.
Wow.
So I'm in the cell. This is now Sunday evening. And I'm asking the guards there. By the way, the guards speak zero English, none. So trying to communicate with them is impossible because Brent Lettich speaks zero Spanish. Other than, I don't even know what it is, Espanol or hable. Yeah, that's it. So a few hours go by, and the two gentlemen that took me there come in, and they start doing all of the paperwork. So there's all kinds of questions that they're asking. At that facility, I had to do fingerprints. At that facility, they took pictures. So they had everything. They took me out of my cell to do all of this processing, if you will. And in that processing, the only thing that was there was my suitcase, my briefcase, and of course the gun, the SIG 9mm. They had that on the table. Excuse me. Anybody in that facility, they were coming in and out of that room and, for lack of better terms, Googling, with eyes and salivating. Oh my gosh, they were picking this gun up and they were like, wow, look at this. And now, of course, they're talking and everybody's looking at it and fondling it. And then, that was like, to them, must be like candy or Christmas because they may not see guns like that. I don't know. But everybody loved that 9mm.
And you're like, it was safer in my briefcase than it is
It's
just being
everywhere.
tossed around like a hot potato.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened. So I knew, okay, all of that part is going on. They're asking me all these questions. In comes a doctor or a medical something or other. They had to do exams. We all know American exams and, okay, bend over, twist, lift your arms up.
That's your favorite part.
Yeah, it sure is. Don't tell anybody, please. So the language barrier is becoming more and more difficult because this person spoke zero English and there was no interpreters there. There was no nothing. So trying to get through these exams, asking me about medications and, any of that was very, very difficult to communicate. Got through all of that. I get sent back to my cell. I asked to make a phone call because I wanted to make sure Morgan and Brenna and Aaron and Matt and Chloe were okay. I wanted to make sure they got to the resort. As a dad,
Yeah.
okay, is everything okay? Are you guys okay? My cell phone. I'm not, to be quite honest, I don't remember if I had myself. I did not have my cell phone. So Morgan and them, they took that. But they told me I could make phone calls and I could communicate. That's what they had told me.
Not true.
Not true. Okay, no problem. Well, I do know that one of the gentlemen told me that the U.S. Embassy was, or a consulate was
The U.S.
name.
consulate, yeah.
Yep, was going to be coming to visit. So, okay, so at least I know somebody of power knows that I'm here. Sunday evening, again, I don't know timing. Sunday evening, at this point, I am the only one in this detention center. The doors open, of course. You've seen the movies. You hear that clink, clink. The doors open, they shut, and I hear like hard heels coming down. It's just as vivid as could be. And in walks Leslie. Leslie is from the U.S. consulate.
And you're like, thank God you're here.
I sure am. Now that, my gosh, an American I can actually hold a conversation with.
Yeah.
So she explains to me who she is and where she's from, and pretty much the procedure. They were notified by the Mexican authorities as well as Aaron had called her and talked to her and told her as well. So all of these pieces of the puzzle, okay, good. So now I at least know somebody's in my corner. She starts to tell me what this whole process looks like. Because, to be honest, to this point, I know nothing other than I'm in a detention center just waiting. By tomorrow, it just should be all cleared up. Until Leslie started talking. And Leslie told me that they are charging me with 5 different crimes. 5.
Hold on. Sorry, that just blew my mind for a minute.
5.
Everybody that's listening is just like, how 5?
Okay. Great question, because that's exactly what I was saying. So she said, these 5 crimes all carry a minimum. Each one carry a minimum of 2 years.
Minimum
of 2 years. Each one. Maximum of 4. And the reason all of this just happened 2 months prior to this. So this was June 2019. 2 months prior to that, Mexican law changed and the penalties increased for these specific crimes. Specific crimes being, number 1, of course, having a concealed weapon, bringing it into Mexico. Number 2, it being a 9mm. Great memory, John.
Yeah.
A 9mm in Mexico is considered anything over a .22 caliber is considered for military use only. So a 9mm, as we all know, is bigger than a .22. So 9mm is considered for military use. Civilians
So
are
it could have
not.
been a 9mm or a bazooka.
Doesn't matter. Same one and the same there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Number 3, third crime, is I had rounds. Now, in the United States, I always carry, and the rounds are in the gun. So the magazine was in the where it's supposed to be.
Yep, in the firearm.
So it was in the firearm. That's number 3. Number 4 is I had hollow points used in that magazine. And number 5 was the amount of rounds that were in there. So 5 crimes, all carrying 2 years. And I'm like, well, Leslie, I mean, again, told her the entire story. She's like, Brent, there's nothing I can do. You're going to have to go through the process.
Oh, what was
How are
that?
you feeling at that point?
Was it like the part of your life feel like it was ending?
Done. I mean, immediately I'm thinking,
Your daughters.
yeah, 10 years. Wait a second. Brenna just graduated high school. Morgan is leaving in 10 days when we get back from this trip to go to the Air Force. I'm divorced at the time. Both my daughters have lived with me since the divorce. So it is me and my 2 daughters. Now, wait a second. Remove Brent. Remove Morgan, because Morgan's going to the Air Force. Brenda's on her own.
Alone.
Wait a second. Who's going to pay for the house? Wow. How is this going to all happen? Okay, here is a pamphlet. A pamphlet of all the lawyers that you can contact to help you or represent you. Now, this pamphlet, by the way,
Is in
is
Spanish.
in Spanish. Gee, thanks, Leslie.
Yeah.
And here, a little tidbit to the whole thing. It's a brand new, freshly printed pamphlet. It's a little odd.
Yeah.
I mean, she's bringing me one pamphlet, brand new, freshly printed. Here you go. She turns it over, and here's the list of all of the attorneys. And she has 2 of them circled. And she says, I would call this gentleman here to help represent you.
Dirty.
And wink, wink, this is the one that I've already called, and he knows you're in here. The same gentleman. Okay. Well, wait a second,
and here's the
Leslie.
thing: you're trusting her, like,
Yeah,
and you're like all faith, like, yep, she's pointing me in the right direction.
absolutely.
Yeah, what other
I have
choice
no
would-
other choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How-
you bet.
And that,
But how are you feel like for her to come in with a Spanish pamphlet? If she feels a little unprepared,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
like
Again, when you think the U.S. consulate dealing with an American would bring something to help.
yeah,
did she print it off in the lobby at the detention center?
that's what I'm thinking. Brand new, printed in Spanish,
It
and you're
was
like,
Once
how
again,
does
this was at-
Crystal
This was
clear
the gift
clean.
shop of the jail
Right.
on the way out, or the way in, I guess.
oh my gosh.
So she's like, this is who I would call. And I said, first thing I mentioned was, Leslie, I don't have a phone. How am I supposed to call this gentleman? Well, I'll give this information to Aaron so Aaron then can make those phone calls. Again, because I don't have a cell phone, I've asked to make phone calls. I can't make phone calls.
And Leslie is from America.
Leslie is from America. Yeah, she works for the U.S. consulate. From my understanding, in Mexico City is where she was. There's several consulates throughout, but she was from, I believe, Mexico City. So again, she reiterates, this is probably the last time you're going to see me because I can't help you in any other way. Leaves me with the pamphlet and walks out. Okay. Now I at least know, going back to Aaron, she is going to, trusting Leslie for what she says, she's going to call Aaron and give Aaron these phone numbers. Okay.
Right.
Again, if there's anybody I can count on, it's Aaron. So that was late Sunday evening. It was dark. She leaves. It's Brent Lettich in a Mexican detention center, all cement, and my mind.
And 10 years.
Why?
Like you're
10 to 15,
you're
10
thinking that's
facing
it. Like I'm gonna get a lawyer, but like I'm gonna be in here for 10 years. Leslie just told me there's nothing they can
Nothing
do.
they can do.
And they're literally like, "Hey, we're gonna use you an example. You're an example. Like they're gonna use you as an example. Like here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna charge you with these 5 crimes, 5 felonies,
Oh, yes.
and you're gonna be made an example.
100% correct.
And you're looking at, I mean, literally minimum 10, could be 20.
Yes.
Sorry if we interrupt. This is us
no.
digesting the story
Please.
as well. Like
Yeah.
this is wild. Continue.
It truly is.
So the next day is Monday.
Yes. Now, a lot transpires Sunday night.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
This is the big time story that I go ahead.
Yeah, so you're in the cell with your mind
Yeah.
right now.
And I'm sorry, guys. It's going to get emotional.
Let's go there.
Sunday night. I know the cell is 6 by 12 because I was like a caged animal. You've seen caged animals. All that you do is pace. That's all I had to do. Can't sleep. You're on a cement slab. No pillow, no anything. What am I going to do? The only thing I can do, your mind starts racing. Why? Oh my gosh, what did Brent Lettich do to deserve this? All I wanted to do was kind of be a good dad. I wanted to take my kids on a vacation. Celebration. This is fantastic. Why? Why me? Why did this happen? Why? Crying uncontrollably.
I remember this.
Hours. Don't understand why. I'm looking at the rest of my life, 10 years. Why? God. Why? Blaming God. Asking God. Why? So a week before, I go to a church, Assembly of God, down in Dover, Pennsylvania. Been going there. My daughters were raised in this church. I went to church the week before. It was a children's day. They had a children's play that particular day. My pastor is Ed, Pastor Ed. He is a very, what's the word I'm looking for? When he preaches, he talks with his hands, and he's very emotional, and he's very
Very character.
very
charismatic.
love him to death.
Yep.
Talk about hunting, been on many hunting trips with him, many fishing trips, many hours spent with Ed. Love him like a brother. He's my pastor. He's just phenomenal. Reason I go to this church is because of Pastor Ed. That Sunday before all of this, I go to church, and it's the children's play. I don't have any kids in growing up anymore, but I still go to church because I love fellowship. So that weekend, we finished the children's play, and Pastor Ed does about a 15-minute sermon. Now, if anybody knows Pastor Ed, his sermons are not 15 minutes. He always goes over by 15 minutes. So this particular Sunday, his sermon was about 15 minutes.
So it was shorter than normal.
Very, very short. But the sermon was Daniel and the lion's den. That was the sermon. Very, very brief. Going back to Ed, he was talking about Daniel and the lion's den, and he was talking about Daniel being lowered into the lion's den. And he was explaining everything, so on and so forth. So that was the Sunday before. I'm now Sunday evening, uncontrollable, literally pacing the cell, asking why, crying, asking God why. This goes on for hours. And I had to walk back to the back of this cell and to literally blow the snot out of my nose. And I walked to the front, crying. I hit my knees, raised my arms up. Why? I looked back to where I just came from, and there's Ed, Pastor Ed. And he's doing his gestures, talking about lowering Daniel in the lion's den. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my lion's den. Daniel wasn't touched. Anybody who doesn't know the story, Daniel was lowered in the lion's den. The lions never touched him. He was raised out of the lion's den unscathed. Oh my gosh, this is Brent Lettich's lion's den. And immediately a hymn came to me. And it's in the garden is the hymn. And he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own. That's the only thing I hear. Watching Pastor do his demonstration of Daniel being lowered, and this hymn comes over me. Immediate peace.
Wow.
Because you know what? Whatever happens, I'm going to be okay.
And you just
Jesus is here right now. He's with us all right now. And at that particular moment, I knew without a doubt everything is going to be okay.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Yeah.
This is going to be a two-parter. We're going to continue the story now, but I'm going to tell the audience you're going to have to tune in next week as well, because the second part of this is going to come on next Monday. This is a really great story, and I'm just happy to be here. So we're going to make this a two-parter because I don't want to shortchange this at all, and I want you to be able to tell the whole story.